Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over Bitcoin and all of the major Bitcoin metrics. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so it is a holiday today. Today is MLK Day, so the stock market is actually closed today. Unfortunately, again, I don't know why they need to continuously close the markets on all these different holidays. It's kind of ridiculous. They need to kind of scale that back a little bit. But regardless, nonetheless, futures is open, crypto is open. In terms of futures, uh, didn't do any trading today. Had some other stuff going on. Didn't really actually even think that markets were going to be open today, so that's interesting. But I did want to point this out, though. You guys can see that we have gotten above the descending channel here in a very decisive bull move, higher highs, higher lows. So I do just want to point that out for y'all. Today was also the inauguration day. Trump got sworn into office. He signed off on a whole plethora of different executive orders. I've seen some of what they are. I've heard that they're up to 200. I haven't read all 200, so I don't know exactly what they are. Mostly just the main ones. I'm still kind of wondering if Trump's actually going to have the Fed cut rates faster like he did last time, because that's what he did last time. And also, if there's going to be any mention of the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, I'm sure I'm not the only one wondering about that. Again, I have not heard any news on that. So as soon as I do, I will let you guys know. All right. So in terms of Bitcoin, what I do want to point out here is that if I actually go down to, I believe it's the daily time frame, you guys can see a very clear and concise breakout of this downtrend line. Again, Bitcoin did make a new all-time high last night at about 109,200. But for the sellers or profit takers, whatever the case, really trying to pile into this previous high here. Again, this is kind of to be expected. It's pretty textbook stuff. The fact that it wicked up and even made a higher high, to me, tells me likely the price is still going to go higher. So that's kind of my thesis. We'll go over the other metrics first before we go over Bitcoin, though, because, again, that's usually how we do it. So the crypto search term for Google Trends, again, this is on the 5-year chart. You can see it's starting to tick up here. So there is obviously much more interest coming back into the space now that Trump is in office. He's more crypto friendly and business friendly, sort of anti-regulation, so to speak. Or I shouldn't say anti-regulation, but more deregulation, less restrictions on businesses and whatnot, which is good for business. That's good for people that want to make money, for investors and all that jazz. So Bitcoin slowly starting to tick up again. I would expect as much when it makes a new all-time high. In terms of fear and greed, we are in the extreme greed territory again. What I will say about this is that we can spend a lot of time in extreme greed. It's in the let's say we spend 3 to 6 months, or 4 to 7 months, or something like that, in the extreme greed territory. In crypto, that can actually happen for a much longer period of time in stocks, i.e., like 2 to 3 years. It's not really that uncommon to stay in one spectrum or the other for a longer period of time, especially when the economy is the most bullish, meaning the Fed basically has the rates at zero, they're printing money, inflation's low, the economy's booming, all that kind of stuff. Then this thing can stay in greed for a very, very long time. Okay, so MVRV score here next. Again, we have not even come close to these pink boxes up here. I suspect we'll probably get somewhere between maybe a 6 to an 8 by the time we peak out. I would not be expecting Bitcoin's top to be anything in between there. It could go up to a 10. That's possible. We haven't seen that since looks like about 2017, but anything's possible, I suppose. So again, the green box is the best time to buy, red box is the best time to sell. Usually the best time to buy would be marked right around the bear market lows, which, as you guys know, based on the timing of the cycle, that should not start until next year. Okay, so rainbow chart. So we're still in the accumulate phase. Pretty straightforward. Like I said before, we usually chop around in the blue area right after the halving, and then we take off to the upside. We are currently seeing that. So where do I think this thing's probably going to top out? I think probably somewhere around the hodl area. If we get lucky, maybe is this a bubble? Because again, the FOMO intensifies. That's where the first peak in 2021 took place. So probably somewhere in the yellow or the light orange, what I would say is probably right about where I would expect it to top out sometime towards the end of this year. Okay, so let's see the Newpol chart. Okay, for some reason this one is not loading, so we'll come back to this later. We'll go over the Pi cycle top indicator instead. So Pi cycle top indicator, the current bottom is 85,000. The current top is roughly about 140,000. So we need to get to 140,000 just to get to the green EMA. Once we get above the green EMA, that's the final move for Bitcoin. Typically speaking, it can take a matter of 6 months or maybe even just a few months. It depends on how fast Bitcoin tops out. I've already told you guys, I think somewhere between 140 to about 220,000, probably going to be somewhere in there where we see the peak. But in order for this indicator to actually trigger, the yellow EMA has to touch or cross over the green EMA. And again, just to get to the green EMA, not even above it, we have to get to 140,000. So that tells me likely the biggest move for Bitcoin is yet to be seen and that we have not seen a top yet. Okay, so M2 money supply, this one's pretty straightforward. Again, when we get these peaks, we usually get bigger peaks on the green hills here. Every single time that usually happens as the blue line, the M2 money supply goes up globally, because this is a global version. Bitcoin should also theoretically go up. So the M2 is currently pulling back, but the price of Bitcoin is going up and or sideways. Here's my thesis as to what I think is going to happen. Okay. The Fed has come out and they'll never openly admit this. Okay. The Fed, this is kind of unspoken truths, so to speak. Again, I cannot state this as fact because I cannot prove it. This is just my opinion. But what I hypothesis is actually the case here is that the Fed was saying, oh, we're not going to cut rates because it was politically charged and it's what the Biden administration wanted to do before they left office. Again, this is just my opinion. But I think what's going to happen is the Fed is, now that Trump is in office, at some point here in the near future, they're probably going to completely 180 and out of the blue, they're going to come out and say, just kidding, guys. Yeah, we are actually going to cut rates this time. Whether they cut by 25 or 50 remains to be seen, but I do think we're actually going to get cuts in the near future. Again, if I remember reading correctly, I think Trump even himself said that rates are far too high. You guys are welcome to look into that if you want to, but last time it was the dollar is too strong or something like that. So, we look, I'll put it to you guys like this. Okay, last year Biden came out at some point, which again, presidents never do this. Okay, the fact that it was even mentioned by Biden is completely unorthodox for U.S. presidents, but he did come out and say something along the lines of last year of, I guarantee you there's going to be not a rate cut, but, basically he was pretty much indicating or insinuating that there was likely going to be a rate cut before the end of the year, which we did see. Again, I told you guys this in the past. So I suspect something very similar is going to play out with Trump, right? He says, oh, rates are far too high. Well, that probably means that the Fed's going to be cutting more than we think they're going to. Again, it's hard to say exactly what the Fed is going to do, but I would be willing to bet my money that the Fed's probably going to cut rates a lot more this year than most people think. And when that happens, the M2 money supply will grow, Bitcoin will grow, and we'll get the true parabolic phase of the bull run. Okay, so crypto app search terms, or top apps, I guess in this case, this would be the iPhone App Store. I don't actually have the Galaxy or the Samsung version in front of me, but most people use iPhones. So anyways, I don't know if this is a crypto app, this Buy Moonshots thing. You guys will have to let me know. I'm not sure what that is. But anyway, so we got crypto.com and Coinbase in the top 10, top 20. I think that's more so happening, not necessarily because we're not in the final stages of the bull run. I don't think that's the case. I think what's going on here is people realize Trump's in office and he's pro crypto, and you have the Trump coin thing. If you guys didn't hear about that, go look into that yourself. Melania coin, all this other stuff going on. Very pro crypto, right? So people are starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with putting money into crypto because they're like, oh, well, I don't need to worry about the SEC witch hunting me or, the IRS breathing down my neck or anything like that. So, when people feel more comfortable going into a space, they're going to want to go into it naturally. And the Fed funds rate getting dropped will add fuel to that fire. So that's kind of what I see here. And this could, the fact that we're seeing this now while Bitcoin is barely even moved, tells me likely this could be the beginning stages of the next massive move for crypto to the upside. So I want to bring this up real quick. Again, this is not the Bitcoin returns. We already told you about the Bitcoin returns last year that likely we're going to see green across the board for pretty much every single month of the year from September to December. And that's more or less pretty much what we saw. I think with the exception of, I want to say the exception of December. Yeah, so December was the only one that wasn't green, but we had September, October, and November that were green. So pretty much still in line with historical standards. Now, Ethereum, the reason I bring this up is because Ethereum usually does gain dominance over Bitcoin in Q1 and Q2 of the post-halving year, which would be this year. Okay, so looking back in history, you guys can see in 2021, which was the post-halving year at that time, massive gains on Ethereum in Q1 and Q2. Also, the same thing for 2017, which was the post-halving year for 2016. And what does that mean for altcoins? That means that basically anything Ethereum and altcoin related should absolutely explode if history is any indication to the upside for absolutely stupid gains over the next 6 months. Okay, so now let's go over Bitcoin. So I did want to point out to you guys that there is this kind of, and again, these are support levels down here, so I'm not going to remove those. But what I will say is there does appear to be some kind of bull flag pattern here on the monthly time frame. Again, this is literally a perfect, absolutely perfect textbook bull flag pattern. If this is actually to play out as a bull flag, which it looks like it might do, 130,000 roughly would be the target. Obviously, it has to go much higher to get past that green EMA on the Pi cycle top indicator, but nonetheless, you can see what's going on there. And once again, I will say on the monthly time frame that we should not expect to see some kind of major peak for Bitcoin or even the entire market for that matter until the monthly time frame gets somewhere around a 90 to a 95 on the RSI. That's kind of what I'm looking at. That's been the historical standard for timing the top, so to speak. So weekly time frame, we got a break at the downtrend line. The wick popping above the highs here tells me that price discovery is in play. We're likely going higher. Again, we've mostly just been going sideways here with Bitcoin. I think it's because they're waiting for Trump and his administration to decide how to lay out the groundwork for crypto. And then, we take off from there. That's kind of what I expect is going on. It looks pretty bullish to me. I mean, we went sideways into the EMA, so now we should see a move up. That's what's known as a pullback in time. So I think it looks all good as far as I'm concerned. The daily time frame, obviously we went over this before. So daily time frame here, you can see we had this, apparently it was a rising channel, not a bull flag, so it broke down. Okay, yeah, whatever, went right about to the bottom of the channel. That's textbook, that's supposed to happen. Then we bounced up, got this overcut, undercut, and then took off above this trend line. Now we're retesting it. We should theoretically see a bounce from here. Okay, next one that we're going to go over here is the 4-hourly time frame. So the only thing to really note about this, personally, as far as I'm concerned, is we had an oversold signal back here. Then we got a double tap here, and that was the bottom, and then we took off to the upside. Anytime you get that oversold signal on the 4-hourly time frame, it does usually indicate a pretty substantial local bottom. And we also got a golden cross back here shortly thereafter, and we have been going up ever since. So usually when you get the golden cross signal, that's pretty bullish, okay? And the price is still above the EMAs on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin. So that's obviously very bullish too. So Ethereum, I'm expecting Ethereum to take over pretty soon. This month, maybe next month. Again, we're looking for it to get a break above this triangle. We're still kind of testing it. I think it's probably going to happen sooner than most people expect. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Right, there's I also wanted to cover the Bitcoin diamond pattern as well. So you can see this diamond pattern right here. Again, usually when you get one of these, which is a rare, it's an extremely rare signal. I think I've only seen maybe 6 or 7 of these in the last 4 or 5 years that I've noticed. They're pretty rare. They don't happen that much. So you can see that this is at the top of a move. Usually that indicates a move to the downside. If it's at the bottom of a move, usually it's going to move up. It does appear we got a breakout to the upside, but we're still kind of getting rejected along the bottom of this rising wedge here, which is also a bearish pattern. The target for that is the bottom of the wedge all the way down here at 39%, which I suspect is probably going to play out for the alt season. So we'll keep an eye out on that too. Okay, so we'll take a quick look at the, if I can even find it, where is it? So we'll take a quick look at the market caps here for all of the cryptocurrencies, okay? So you can see this one right here, the total one, which includes everything, is it pushed past the highs and we're kind of consolidating before eventually moving higher. I'll tell you guys right now, the upside for this is absolutely stupid. So it's right around, oops, I'm going to do that. Okay, so I don't know what the hell just happened there. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so it's right around $10 trillion is, according to the Fibs, is where it's supposed to top out. We'll have to wait and see if that plays out. But it looks pretty bullish. Break the neckline of the highs and then retest, and it should theoretically go higher. Total 2, we did not get a breakout yet, but I will tell you guys right now, it does appear we are getting some kind of bull flags. So this is another early indication that Ethereum might be about ready to break its cycle lows and start moving to all-time highs, and we get that alt season. Measured move would push us all the way up to about 2.8 trillion here, so huge move. It's not small by any means. It's almost a 2x. But I don't even think that's going to be the scale of the move. I think the Fibonacci's will ultimately tell the real story, so we're probably looking at about 6 trillion on total 2, which includes everything minus Bitcoin. Total 3, currently retesting the previous all-time highs from the previous cycle. Again, this, in my opinion, these charts are going to break out any day now. I don't think it's going to be too much longer before we see it. So about 4 trillion on this one. I mean, it's a 4x. That's still a massive, absolutely stupid gain. I mean, a lot of these coins could easily do 20, 30, 50, 100x, maybe even 1000x during that time frame. Okay, so what I will tell you guys about the others, which again, if you guys are wondering what others is basically it is all of the altcoin market minus the top 10. Okay, so no Bitcoin, no Ethereum, no XRP, no Doge, anything in the top 10 is excluded from this. This is like your degenerate altcoins, okay? Like top 20 and under. Yeah, it appears that we're getting ready to break all-time highs. Obviously, we hit the target for the falling channel. But once we snap this area at 506 billion, I mean, it's pretty much game over after that. You can see we're literally knocking on the door of alt season right now. So the full target for this is almost 2 trillion. Again, that does not include the top 10. So massive gains to be seen here. All right, last thing I want to point out to you guys, and again, this is the 10,000 foot view for those of you guys that are like, oh, well, crypto's not going anywhere. It's all immediate gratification these days, right? Everybody wants everything now, right now, the second, like a baby that got its pacifier taken out of its mouth. It's pretty sad to see adults acting like this, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm not saying everybody does it, but a lot of people do that. If you're an investor in crypto or in anything in the markets, you just, again, not financial advice, but you got to learn to be patient. Sometimes the best thing that you can do, and again, this is not financial advice, but sometimes the best thing you can do is just sit on your hands and wait for an opportunity to open up, or position yourself when the opportunity does open up and just sit on your hands and wait for the money to roll in. Okay. Sometimes that is literally all you got to do. All right. So the point I want to make here is about the yearly candles. Okay. So you got your bear market year, 2014, 2018, 2022, right? Those are the midterm years. Then you got 14 or 15, 16, 17. And then obviously the 3 green years, you can kind of see the pattern here. The middle green year, which is the halving year, is also the presidential election year. Okay. So the post halving year, which usually signals the largest gains, as you can clearly see, uh, is the post halving year is when the new president is in office. Okay. So the inauguration, in my opinion, is what ultimately kicks off the bull run, because usually January of the post halving year is when we start getting stupid gains on Ethereum and altcoins. I'm expecting something very similar to happen here. So, when in doubt, zoom out. Again, I know it hasn't been moving a lot. There's kind of been up and down and mostly sideways, but I did just want to point this out to you guys because we still have to play out this third green year. Okay, we're not actually supposed to have a crypto bear winter according to the 4-year cycles until next year, which is 2026. I mean, if you put the pieces of the puzzle together, okay, the most bullish administration we've ever had, national Bitcoin stockpile, Gary Gensler is resigning. We no longer have to worry about over-regulation of crypto and businesses thanks to the new admin. You got people like Elon Musk, Vivek. I'm trying to remember who else. You got obviously Melania and Donald Trump, right? They have their own coins now, Trump coin and Melania coin. And then you have, I heard this, I don't know if this is true, but JD Vance is supposed to be like the 5th largest holder of AVAX. And he also owns a Bitcoin as well. So, and then you have people like Cynthia Loomis. I don't think I need to say more about this. Trump doesn't want the rates at all-time high. He wants them to be cut. They want a booming economic golden age for America. I mean, it's all lining up for a third massive, explosive, golden, green, bullish year for crypto, right? For a final blow off top for the 2026 crypto bear winter. All right. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.